Hello, everybody. It is me, Demetra K, and I am sitting here with Donovan, the recovering Democrat Saadiq, the very disgruntled, depressed Yul Brenner, Black Yul Brenner, I should say. As y'all know, he was, in Hawaii with his little Speedo on and all of that, but he had to come back. They kicked him out of Hawaii, and so he's mad that he has to, be back to, reality, whatever that is for him. So anyway, the purpose of the Demetra K show is to promote Black love, knowledge, and understanding of all things that go on in the Black community to make us an even better people, with the emphasis on even, because we are a great people, but we can always strive to do better. I also like to say a big giant thank you and welcome to YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. Not only are you just viewers, you are participants, because we also share the link for you to come on and briefly, Lord have mercy, briefly say that 10 times, right? Ask a question or make a comment or whatever. And if we need the background, then we will get it from you. Today, I didn't, can I keep it real with y'all? Between Friday and today, I have recorded 20 videos, right? For work, 20 videos, because I am preparing to leave the country in a couple of weeks. And so I have a lot of stuff to do. So I really didn't feel like talking about politics or anything like that. I mean, we can, if you guys want to, but I saw this trending, and it was about a Black father who is facing backlash due to popping. Y'all know, if y'all been popped before, right? When you get out of line, due to popping his young daughter. I don't know how old she was. I would imagine she was probably maybe 3 or 4. Y'all saw it on the thumbnail. I will not show the video here because it's a child. But he faces backlash for popping her as she bent over to twerk. And I don't know who was filming it, but he was like, basically not on my watch type of thing. So I guess there's a backlash from him popping her. He shouldn't have hit her, and all those other things. I would disagree that he hit her. It was just kind of something like to get her attention, right? Like, hey, stop type of thing. And so I want to have a conversation with you guys in regards to, what should he have done, and possibly where did she learn it from at such a young age? And what do we need to do about that as a society, as a Black people, to not have our 3 to 4-year-old daughters thinking that twerking is acceptable? What happened to the hokey pokey, right? Or the funky chicken? And I'm dating myself, right? Or whatever little cute dance that kids do, right? Whatever happened to that stuff? And like I said, I want to know where she saw that at. Now, I don't know. Maybe it was her mama, but I'm concerned. But I'm going to say right off the top, and, I'm just going to be here for the discussion, that I don't have a problem with the daddy popping her to get her attention. Like, Now, what I do wonder is, did he pop the person that taught it to her? Donovan?
Welcome, you guys. I'm kind of somber. I usually get like this when I get back to this hellhole of a country. We keep talking about what a first world country we are in. And unfortunately, you guys are sadly mistaken. America has been a third world country for a very, very long time. And this is where we're at. When I was in Hawaii, there are homeless people there, but the homeless people are hidden. That is a services state. So they don't want all these homeless people just running around and sitting, all over the place. Landed in San Diego. Just as you go down to San Diego by the bus port, with the mass transit port system, whole city of homeless people just hanging out right there. It's just so depressing. But anyway, welcome to the show. It is Sunday. That means it is Demetra K. Thank you guys for tuning in with us. There's a lot of options you guys have out there, and you guys decided to share it with us. If you look at the bottom of the page here, you see this thing scrolling. It says, please donate. Cash App, Demetra K, PayPal, Demetra K, Venmo, Demetra K, such and such and such and such. If you so desire and you want to help move the videos forward and help produce the show, that's one way to do it. And we really, really do appreciate it, because as Demetra said, she did 20 videos as she's getting ready to get up out of here. 20 videos, and that takes time, effort, and all this other good stuff. So we thank you guys that have donated. We really appreciate it. Also, do us a favor. It's absolutely free. If you don't want to donate, there's another way you can contribute to the show. Hit that like button, and I'm telling you, that does a lot for the algorithms, and it lets people and lets YouTube know that, hey, people love this show, and we'll get it cracking that way. I'm going to be in the comment section, so you guys, don't be surprised. But I'm just out of it today. I mean, I'm here, but there's also another thing we've got to talk about today that is very important. I think it is something that a lot of people have not heard about, but it's a matter of time before it affects your state. It's going to be a matter of time before it affects your state. And again, happy birthday to Miss Moni of Detroit. She is still celebrating, and probably until the end of the month, maybe the end of the year. Who knows? So, Demetria, let's get into this and see what the hell is going on.
Well, I want to know your opinion. What is your opinion about the father receiving backlash due to I said correcting on the thumbnail because we can't say a whole lot of things, but he corrected his young daughter who and again, I'm not going to show you the video because it is of a child. And hello to everybody. He popped her to get her attention to stop. She was fully bent over and committed to twerking. And unless you guys live under a rock somewhere, twerking is a dance that has been seen within the last, 10 years plus all over the place, specifically the internet, and hell, even off the internet, restaurants and churches and God knows wherever else.
Award shows.
Yeah, it's mostly women and some men who
you wanted my opinion on that. So let me say this. My opinion on it is that's his daughter, that's his child. He can do whatever the hell he wants to do with his child. That's his business. So that's none of our business how we discipline our children. It really isn't. Everybody wants. Everybody's not the same in how they react to discipline. Some kids are hard-headed. Some kids you can talk to them. Some kids you just can't talk to them. So who are we to tell him what he's to do and what he's not to do? But I do know this: that girl got popped. And if she got popped, she's going to remember that type of reaction to her. And hopefully she'll stop it.
Right. And Strawberry Vixen, you said, my best friend is homeless out in San Diego. I've been trying to find her. Haven't heard from her in a while. I've called the county jail and everything seems she just vanished. Oh, wow.
Well, the funny thing about San Diego, Portland, and Seattle is a major area where the homeless migrate. So she might be up in Seattle. She could be up in Portland. There is a major encampment down there. She could still be down there. God willing, hopefully she is. But yeah, let's keep our fingers crossed on that.
And Strawberry Vixen, and I'm hoping this is not the case. And we also know that San Diego is close to the Mexico border, and unfortunately, there is a lot of human trafficking that goes on that way. So hopefully, nothing like that has happened to your friend. But we do hope that you find her and that she is found safe. So I just want to put that good energy out there. And hello, Yanni, how are you doing? And Powerful Empress, you said you haven't heard that story. I saw it on I saw it on Twitter about the father popping his daughter for twerking. I saw it on Twitter and I saw it on Instagram as well. I guess he was receiving some backlash, and for the life of me, I do not understand why. And Michael, thank you so much for the donation. He says California is a third world state. Okay. Yes, Marshawn Disney Diva, how you doing? He says praying for her friend. And Brother Don, how are you doing? Our fine moderator. I hope all is well in your neck of the woods. Michelle, you say, how you doing? He says, greatly appreciate the broadcast. Salute to Demetria and chat. Donovan, not so much. With all due respect. Uh-oh. Yikes. And Marjorie, thank you so much. I appreciate you for that. It says, let him be a dad. Yeah, from what I saw, he didn't abuse her. It was really brief, like that. It wasn't nothing terrible, just, hey, like, what are you doing? Type of thing. So I agree. I don't understand what the backlash is about at all. Brother Samuel say, and how you doing? Men in large have lost more moral authority. Big ups to him. for keeping his and not drinking too and the degenerative culture. Mom and dad used to say, "You may hate me now, but you'll love me later." So I think you're basically saying big ups to him for not acquiescing to this culture of anything goes, and doing. I mean, I can. My dad probably would have did worse. We was like, when my dad got the stuttering, oh, it is over for you. You know, it's gonna be something horrible to follow that, and it was because we deserved it, right? So yeah, you asked me, that little girl, she got off quite light in comparison to my father. Uh, and let's see here. Yes, Marshawn says, I agree. Let him be a dad. In Black America, he says, nobody trafficking old women, especially not old homeless women. How you know how old that lady is that's missing? You know, see, you just out the gate with the foolishness. My Lord. But how you doing, by the way? Janelle, how you doing? It says, even though I'm pro spanking, I don't. I think it was a good thing for the dad embarrassing her. He needs to talk and continue to talk and be present for her.
Well, see, I'm going to respect Janelle's opinion, but you know what? I'm going to disagree with it. We need to bring shame back to the damn community. We really need to do that. Why do you think, in my opinion, this is why a lot of people are out of control. They don't know. You're in a damn restaurant and you're going to be twerking on the restaurant's furniture while people are eating. Let's bring shame back to the community. If there's nothing to be shameful about, let it be a free-for-all. Just let it be a free-for-all. I mean, I disagree with your thing, but I respect it. But I just think we need to bring shame back to the community. When people just have no shame. They do whatever they want, have no shame. You got Sukiyana talking about, we out here doing this with our whatever. Where's the shame? Where is the shame?
Brother Jonelle, how are you doing? You say, spare the rod, spoil the child is still a good doctrine given via scripture. Yes. And I'm one of those people, all of my niece and nephews and my daughter, they're almost, all of them. With the exception of the younger set in 30, right? Almost in their 30s. So now that I have great nieces and nephews and, some of my younger nieces and nephews, I'm like, don't y'all be whooping those babies. Don't you be hitting those babies, and they're always like, you didn't have that attitude when we were coming up. I was like, well, yeah, it is what it is, right? But in this particular case, I didn't have a problem with the father getting her attention. And Janelle, you say, he could have talked to her and not embarrassed her. But then I think the other side of that argument would have been, well, your daddy was standing right there and he just allowed her to do it. What kind of daddy is that, right? So it was almost like a catch-22. So what do I do type of thing? And I think even, if I saw my daughter doing that, I think I would have probably had the same reaction, maybe grabbed her up or something like, hey, no, you don't be doing that. Or, where did you learn that from? Like, I would have wanted to know all that. But I think he was right in correcting the behavior, right? And she, being a little girl, needs to know that is not something befitting of a young queen, and you're an upcoming queen. You were not to behave that way. And I don't know who was recording it, if they told her to do it. I don't know. There's so many things that need to be answered, but it's like, I don't know.
Dimitri, when we were in school, there were so many things that we had to do to keep from, being embarrassed in school. One thing you wanted to do was keep your grades good enough up so your mom or your dad don't have to come to the school to find out what the hell is going on. That was one of the things. Another thing was, because you didn't want to embarrass your family, and you had, you didn't want the shame of, to be put on your family. You kind of kept up with your comrades in your grade school. You didn't want to be left behind. So you kind of did enough work to graduate to the next level. We've gotten so far away from that as a community, because the simple fact is, you got these people that will disrupt the school year all school year long, and then want to sit their asses in summer school with the kids that are trying to get to college early or whatever and disrupt over there and let them walk. We need to bring shame back to the community. I'm just sorry. I mean, I did not want my mom coming up to the school because my grades were subpar. So I did just enough to keep my mom from coming back from the school, because it's embarrassing when your mama comes there or your daddy comes there and he's sitting in the damn class with you.
Brother Sammy says there's a saying, you can't change a man until you shame a man. You know what? I totally agree. I'm gonna say this right off the top. There's a lot of people out there that there is no amount of shame in the world to make them change their behavior. They're just not. They're like, there is no, people aren't ashamed of the things that they do and say, especially in public. Like they just don't care. And to me, it's kind of scary that we are amongst people, and I don't know if it's just this generation, it's just people in general nowadays. You cannot shame. They're like, I don't care. I'm out here doing lackluster things and all that. I don't care, or whatever the case is. So it's getting very concerning. But I love that. But those are back in the day, you could do that. A person be like, you know what? You right. I should know better. Or how many times have you heard a person say lately, I'm ashamed of myself? And that's not even in the lexicon no more. I'm ashamed of myself. They're like, so what? I'm proud to be, you don't tell me, and this is just the way I am. It's like,
we eating booty out here.
Facts, not feelings. How you doing? Peace and love to you as well. Brother Reggie, you said there needs to be more popping and whooping. These kids are out of control. They really are. It's like, what do you do, right? Now, I like to say there's a difference between a pop and abuse, right? There's some children that's just getting abused, but a little pop, I call a little tighten up. Every once in a while, I don't think it hurts. Tammy, how you doing? And Shamita, what's going on with you? You says, you already know I would have snatched her soul from her chest. Whether she was my relative, daughter, son, how you behave is a direct reflection on me. I am not having it. I totally agree with you.
Wait, and I want to put a disclaimer for my friend Shamita. She is from the Montgomery area and the Alabama area. So if you see the attitude that the people have down there with the chairs and stuff, she's like that.
Stephan, how you doing? He says her mother was the one recording it. For real? I wonder if the mama got a papa too, I mean, I'm just wondering. I'm not saying he should have. Probably would have went to jail or whatever. But I mean, the little girl learned it from somewhere, right? I mean, I'm just imagining. And Janelle, you says the daughter should feel bad for disappointing her dad. I'm knocking on 50, and I still don't want to disappoint the elders in my family. Me either. Most of the things that I do, especially on here, I think of my father because I know my father. He does watch my show. Now, for those of y'all who know me outside of this, and including my father, I'm a little bit more, how can I say this? A little bit more unbuttoned, if you would, not unbuttoned like clothes, not like that. But, I'm a little bit more liberal in the way that the things that I say. But on here, I try to keep it all right. Sometimes I, bring out the razor blades and lemon juice. But for the most part, I just try to be cool, calm, and collected. So I agree with you. We do want to put on the best representation, especially for our elders. And Michael says, I give the dad some credit because he is doing the right thing. However, I'm concerned that he might went too far with disciplining his daughter physically. He can educate her and talk about his ex. Yeah, I mean, he could, but sometimes things happen in which it looks like to me it happened in the it doesn't look like he was expecting his daughter to do that. It looks like it caught him off guard and he did the next best thing, right? And hey, because that to me what it was more like. If y'all you see the video, I'm not gonna show it again. But to me, it was like, hey, what are you doing? Like, hey, that type of thing. So I didn't see it as something abusive. I saw it as, hey, I'm trying to get your attention. Knock that off. So you know what I mean?
Well, can I ask you a question? Let me ask you this question. A girl that young or whatever, where would she learn these types of behaviors at that age? I know some people think it's cute. Now, I can say this. It's obvious she didn't learn it from her father. That's obvious. So why is it that we think behaviors like this for children of that age is funny or is acceptable or whatever? Remember like in the movie Menace to Society when they were like, hey man, that little kid comes out and like, hey man, give me a drink. And the one guy was like, yeah, give him a little drink, get a little nigga a drink, whatever the deal. And the other person was saying, nah, man, you don't give no kids no, drink like that. What's wrong with you? I mean, when did we get to a point where we sexualize these little children like this and think it's funny or think it's something that we can just, do?
Absolutely. Brother Jonelle says people want to exceed the limits of the criteria and cry about the consequences as programmed. The results beyond some limits can be costly, and all those who protest against discipline only gossip about those who are prey to a lack of discipline. Woo-hoo! So the father would be wise to ignore the backlash. You ain't lying, because there are people who don't like it to end up being the victim of the nonsense that's tolerated, right? So I love that. And Michael, you say, Demetra, it's generational. There needs to be a better way to communicate and discipline young people. I agree, but a little tap tap every once in a while ain't gonna hurt. What I saw, the father was not abusive. It was just, I mean, and I don't even know if it would even hurt the little girl, but it was more or less like, hey, I need you to stop, right? And Nayaka, how are you doing? You say no, for real. They have no shame. No, they don't. There's people out there just doing anything and like thinking it's normal. And I'm like, it's so bizarre. It's really bizarre. The things that people think are normal and that like really should be shameful. You know what I mean? Which is why I just stay in the house most of the time, because I just can't. Greater achievement, fit health. How are you doing? And Kim, Alabama, how are you doing today? Yeah, no, Donovan wasn't saying he was gonna eat the booty. He was talking about Sukihana when her and the homegirls was in the UK, London somewhere, and they was talking about we out here eating, all of that, and he was talking about her, not him. I mean, I don't know. He might like eating groceries. I don't know. I wouldn't know. Michelle, we say the shame is in the indoctrination, believing that we should beat our children. Yet white supremacy had a full reign of promoting degenerate behavior. Yeah, and no, I totally agree with you on that as far as beating and abusing it. I mean, we should never do that. But in this instance, if you guys saw the video, it was a hot second, if that, of the father disciplining his daughter. It wasn't even like a discipline. I didn't see it as that. I saw it more as stop. We're like, what are you doing type of thing. Like the father was caught off guard by his very young child bending over to twerk. And Marjorie says, dads don't want their daughters shaking their A's on TikTok on social media feeds. My dad, RRP, would took that phone and turned off the service. Yup, exactly. And Shmita says, the reason they don't care is because there are no consequences, which is sad, which is a lack of guidance and respect. I demand both. You better preach. Joanne, how you doing? He says, guilt is a warning gate from God, but the gate of shame, if you don't turn from this gate, will embrace your God. You were warned. It's good to feel guilty sometimes. I totally agree. And Kim says, I didn't see the video. What happened? You can see it on Instagram and Twitter. Fathers facing backlash for popping. Like y'all been popped before, popping his daughter as she was twerking. She tried to anyway. She's about 3 or 4, maybe. And Marshawn says, my sister is going to have twins, a boy and a girl, and I hope they will be taught well, because I won't be playing that on my watch. Laugh out loud. Not perfect myself, but it is about respect. Absolutely. And Rain says, I used to pinch, give facial expressions and verbal threats. Ooh, I'd rather be popped than a pinch. Ooh, that pinch, boy, just like it lingers. It's like, ah. But it definitely gets the attention, right? And Donovan says, if you discipline enough when they are younger, as they get older, a look is all it takes. Yeah, that's all I have to do to mine. That's all it took. Because when you give the look, what's coming next, you don't want it. Black America says popping is good for children. Yeah, maybe one, but like not a continuous stream of pops, right? And pop, especially if they're doing something that's egregious.
Yeah, it gets
right?
their attention.
Yeah, if it's something egregious, like like children, they used to try to stick their finger or something in a light socket. Say, hold on, little Johnny, could you please stop? I'd like to communicate with you about not doing that. You're like, hey, don't do that, just so they don't die, right? And let's see here. Marshawn says, I don't want my dad to know about my YouTube because I do drink on my show, but I don't drink in front of my dad or fam because I do respect my dad. See, what happened to those days? Like, I'm 52 years old, and there's things that I don't want my father. Not that I'm out there doing anything really. I'm really square. Somebody took an issue with me saying L7. I'm an L7. I guess if I could be that, very green. So I'm not out there doing a whole lot of stuff. But yeah, you still want the respect of your parents, right? You still want them to see you as that angel, right? Because I see some people on social media. I'm like, your mom and daddy know you doing that, and like you don't have no shame. Like I would be shameful if I was a twerker or something. I would think to be doing that on the internet, where it might get back to my my dad. My mom's not here anymore, but or any of my relatives. Like I'm friends with people who are in the church, pastors, all kind of people. So when I post things, I think about stuff like that. I'm like, nah, I better not, because it's not a good look, and there's still a little bit of shame. So. Uh, and Joanne says, Donovan, from her friends, everything don't come from the home, nor the family, school, and Phil. So you're saying that potentially she got that from school? I'd hate to think that there's children in her grade, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, that are doing that. And if they're doing that, why are they doing that? You know what I mean? Michael says, was the TV on when the daughter was twerking? Again, I'm one of those people, and I don't know. I just don't make excuses for a lot of things, because my daughter would tell you, up until she was like maybe 4 or 5, we didn't even have a television in the house. My daughter's musical taste is out of this world. Like she likes Donald Byrd, Earth, Wind and Fire, Jamiroquai, John Coltrane, Miles Davis, and all these people, because all we listened to was CDs. They had CDs back in the day, right? We listened to CDs. So I didn't sit my daughter in front of.
Stop it. You had that hi-fi radio with the little 45 adapter you can play
right. So I didn't sit my child in front of the television. Now, when we did get a television, my mother gave her a Peter Pan DVD of the play Peter Pan. So I was cleaning the house and she was watching it, and occasionally, as because she watched it a lot, I would see her going. So one day I stopped. I was like, well, what is she doing that for? So I rewound it, and Tinkerbell was telling them to clap, or one of them. Yeah, Tinkerbell was telling them to clap to save Peter Pan. So she was clapping, trying to save Peter Pan, and he woke up. And I was like, wow, I better start paying attention. Not that that was bad, but it also reminded me how influential TV is to young children, because she was doing what Tinkerbell told her to do. So we cannot blame television or we cannot blame social media, because we should not be having our impressionable children watching television or on the internet scrolling, and you don't know what they're doing. You should be sitting right there. When I got my daughter her first computer for Christmas, when she was like 13, we had the internet and everything. I set the computer up in her room, but the computer screen was facing the door. And when she was in there on it, she had to leave the door open. And that way, when I walked by, I could see what she was doing. So she wasn't going to be able to turn the computer around and then she see me coming, log off real quick. So what I'm saying is, we got to be diligent and vigilant. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. And not allow our children to be just willy-nilly being influenced by stuff.
Yeah. Well, isn't there an old saying when that was going on? And by the way, that was the dial-up era Demetri was talking about, when
right.
you had but there was an old saying when people were doing that and letting their children just be on the computer and internet willy-nilly, you're actually letting a stranger in your house and influencing your children. You don't know what they're watching, what they're saying. That's in some cases, God forbid, there have been cases where cold cases have happened where these girl met a guy online or somebody online, and they were never to be seen again, because you let this stranger in your house. And as parents, we didn't do our due diligence by making sure, what they were going to or tracking their history.
Yeah. So, I mean, and Michael, I'm not saying that toward you specifically, but I mean, we just gotta be, and I don't know if you have any children, but we cannot allow our children to be influenced by the television, the radio. I wouldn't even let my child listen to the radio nowadays, because of the stuff they put on there. Back in the day, the FCC would have had their, behind a lot of the stuff that they're playing now. But today is just anything goes. Your child can be in a car with you, and then, Sexy Red, Pound Town could come on, and, your child is singing a song. So we I believe it says in the Bible, we got to guard our minds, right? So we should, as parents, be guarding the mind of our children until they are able to make good decisions and make sure that nothing terrible enters into them to influence them. Black America says his main duty to her is to keep her off the pole. Okay, Chris Rock, because that's what Chris Rock said about his daughter. You crazy? That's I don't know if that's his main goal. It's probably one of them.
If you're a father out there and your daughter has to resort to getting on a pole, you failed as a father. I'm sorry, in my opinion, you failed as a father.
You might throw a rock there. Enlighten 5457. How you doing? Says, I don't blame the children. I blame the parents for how children act these days. Parents want to be friends with their children instead of being parents. Absolutely. And it's coming back to bite a lot of parents in the behind. You want to be homies with your kids, and then you can't discipline them because they're like, well, I thought we was friends.
Yeah. And I hate that term. Oh, my mother's, he's my best friend. Remember when Bobby Christina, and I was just like, oh my God. Or when you hear the parent say that, well, that's my best friend. That's the most ignorant thing I've ever heard of. Your children have enough friends. They need parents. That's what they need.
Absolutely. And I told somebody not too long ago, you're not to be friends with your child. You're supposed to be friendly with them, but you're not to be friends. You're not to be friends with your children until they're older and, they maybe got their children, but you can be nice to them, friendly, but friends now, because when you're friends with your children, they think y'all on the same level. And then they bring the stuff that they doing with their friends at school home. And then when you have to, give them a little correction, then it's like, oh my God.
And then the disrespect kicks in and all that other stuff. And then you're estranged for years and all this other BS because your relationship wasn't what it was supposed to be. I'm a 53-year-old man right now, and I do not drink in front of my mother. I try not to curse in front of my mother unless I can hit my, thumb or something, something out of the ordinary. I'll curse and say something real quick. And not just my mother, in front of my elders, my uncles and aunts. I do not sit there and drink with them. I won't do it. Because it's a respect thing. Oh, you're going to buy, my uncle's having a beer. Oh, let me get a root beer. I'll meet them halfway, but I'm not going to drink with them.
Well, I mean, I don't drink much anyway. It's rare that I even drink. But if I was to have a drink around an elder, I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about a beer or wine. Yeah, I understand. But I'm talking about you're sitting there and you're like hanging out with them. Hey, we're just sitting there. Give me another one. Give me another. No, I don't do any of that.
Right. Brother Jonell, he says, a good father doesn't lead his daughter to indecency. A decent woman doesn't inspire that in her child. The society strives to make indecency and savage behavior the norm for us. So when someone checks indecency, they're given backlash, shame, and that's backwards. Yeah, people should have been saying, thank God. And I'm sure they probably were. But thank God that father was on his toes and did not allow his daughter to behave in such a manner. And I would imagine that he had a conversation with her about what she was doing. And, in love, I'm sure he says, you're my little princess. And princesses do not behave that way. That's what the court jesters do. That's what the peasants, and even peasants don't do that. But the lower gutter, just individuals do that. And I don't see that for you, right? Moni says, it'd be amazing. It amazes me, I think it said. People get to say racial slurs all the time on IG, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, no repercussions, but the minute a black man, black woman tell what is truthful in a household is a problem. Yeah, I agree with you. We've got our priorities switched around, and it's unfortunate. And Black America, you say she's listening to music like that. No wonder she doesn't have a man. You talking about my daughter? What she's got some culture. She listening to Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Donald Byrd, and Curtis Mayfield. My daughter listens because that's the stuff I listen to, right? Earth, Wind, and Fire. My favorite all-time band, Jamiroquai, Incognito, Brand New Heavies. I can go on and on forever, right? Yeah, my daughter, she has an exquisite taste in music, and may she be blessed with a man one day that will say, oh, wow, that's pretty dope. I like that music too. And they can sit up and go for a nice little Sunday drive and listen to, some Kind of Blue or something like, you know what I'm saying? I see that for my daughter. But yeah, I'm glad she listens to that kind of stuff. She listens to the other stuff too. Don't get it messed up. Harley, how are you doing? And Marshall says my YouTube channel is mostly Disney stuff and movie reviews and girly random stuff. Laugh out loud, but still because my dad is so serious, I don't want him knowing about my channel. Well, that's good that you revere your dad in that way. Michael M, how are you doing? Vigilant Suburbia Jones. Listen, I've had a hard, long day today. I really have. I've been up since 5 o'clock. I've done 16 videos today. And this would be my 17th video. So, I'm a little exhausted. Plus, I had some real nonsense go on before I came on here. And I had to snap it together. You know what I mean? But thank you, Vigilant. Marshawn says, you sound like you were a great mom. I've had people tell me that. I wasn't perfect, but, I just, certain things I was not going to have for my daughter and certain things that I wanted my daughter to be, and that was to walk in her greatness with as much dignity as possible. Brother Samuel said,
But we also got to remember this too, you guys. When you guys look at Demetria, she also had great counsel by her mother, who told her what she needed to do rather than be emotional. Her mother would tell her to be rational, to be logical. Your child, if her and the dad were acting up or they were having issues, mother gave her the best wisdom. Any woman should give another woman. And I wish a lot of women would tell their daughters the same thing. That child is always going to be yours. Half of that child is yours, half of that child is him. And so sometimes to be great, you got to be able to have great counsel to teach you to avoid the pitfalls.
Yeah, I mean, I love my daughter dearly. Anybody who knows me will tell you that I love my daughter. I love all my nieces and nephews. I've raised some of them, and I'm more like an auntie mama to them, and I love them dearly. But I had a good, my mom's best friend, rather. When my daughter, I tell the story all the time. When my daughter was young, she was spoiled, like she was getting rotten, like 1 year old, right? And her father he never wanted to tell her, no, oh, that's my baby. Oh, no, let her have whatever she wants. And I was just kind of like, oh, okay, whatever. And so my mom's best friend was like, y'all don't love y'all daughter. We was like, huh? Because clearly we thought we did, right? She's like, y'all are in love with your daughter. Because when you're in love with something, you don't care what it does, or you don't want to hurt its feelings. And oh gosh, but when you love somebody, you tell them what's necessary, even if it hurts their feelings, because you want the best for them. And you know that continuing on the path of spoiling them rotten and can't tell them no is going to come back to bite you and potentially harm somebody else in society. We also got people who are grown people who had parents that were in love with them and did not want to tell them no or tell them the truth. And they running around masquerading as grown men and grown women. And they are not that, right? Because they were never taught coping skills or how to be decent people because their parents were in love with them. So you need to know the difference. When you're raising your child, am I in love with my child? I let them do any and everything they want. I don't care. Or I love them and I say and do what's necessary, even though it hurts them and it hurts me. You got to ask yourself those questions.
Yeah, a quick story, a good example. People thought I was a horrible father when it came to my youngest son. He comes up to me at 16, something like 15 or 16 years old, about, Dad, I want to get a tattoo. I said, absolutely fucking not. Right? Mom says it's okay. Don't give a damn what mom says. You will get a tattoo when you're out of this house and on your own, doing your own thing, paying your own bills. I said, but if you do decide to get a tattoo behind my back, I'll be back with my bow knife to cut it off your arm.
Exactly. Marnie says, you love to know my opinion on a gentleman that used a chair, how they're really trying to charge him and a few others for defending themselves in that brawl. Really, well, they're not going to gaffle up a whole bunch of white people and not put some black people on the hook. But thank God they're only misdemeanors. So, it probably won't amount to any jail time. But,
yeah, and the chairman got the lowest misdemeanor that they can give him, but they had to charge him.
Mm-hmm. But there was a lot of money raised, like at this point, over $250,000 to help with the defense fund of the black people who may have gotten in trouble and who may get in trouble because they had the right per Alabama laws to defend themselves. So.
And then I think Stephanie Mills is giving a charity concert. Is that rumor or is that true?
I know she said that she would give a charity concert and the proceeds, she would use that to their defense fund. Again, people are still reeling from what happened last weekend in regards to that brawl, and black people is like, nah, we done. You know what I mean? Norris, how you doing? He says, we have lost a sense of community. Community is not a place, it's a state of mind. You better preach. And you're absolutely right. We have lost that. We just, allow any and everything to go on. And it's a shame, really. All right, so let me skip down here just a little bit, and I'll entertain opening up the link. Ja Tony, how you doing? Blessings to you as well. Uh, and then Moni says, Demetri, I can honestly say that if a person feels that you are not going to get a date or a husband because you listen to Miles Davis, Billie Holiday, and the Supremes, the Dramatics, Marvin Gaye, Phil Collins, Billy Idol. I think maybe he says that someone also. Let's see. Yeah, that is. Yeah, it's. I ain't taking Black America serious. I think he just be saying stuff. Uh, And Suburbia Jones, he says, it appears her mother did a great job. And Enlighten 5457 says, my mother was was the state of Indiana director of child protection in Indiana. There is no law against physical punishment, spanking, as long as there are no injuries. Yeah, and that's a lot of states. They're like, we don't mind that you discipline your child lightly, but when you abusing them and all, yeah, you can't be doing all of that, right? Like, if you feel like you got to be picking up extension cords and switches and all kind of other stuff and punching your child, then the problem ain't the child. The problem is you, that they are, I don't know, deemed to be in. And that's not even true in a lot of cases. Some children aren't even doing anything to get that. But if you feel like you need to do those things to discipline your child, then you might need to whoop your own ass. Excuse my French. And let's see here.
But let's go back to this. For the parent to even get to that point to where they have to discipline like that, Demetria, I'm going to ask you straight up, and everybody in the chat, if you guys agree with me, put a one in the chat. Has there ever been an ass whipping you didn't deserve? Did you ever get an ass whipping you didn't deserve? I mean, you know what I mean. In general, I know there's sometimes parents probably went overboard with some things, but I have. When I look back on my time, every ass whooping I got, I deserved every one of them, every last one of them.
Not me. I didn't. Let me see. Because I didn't get that many whoopings. I was one of those. Hey, Arson, how you doing? I was one of those children that's like, nah, I learned from other people's butt whoopings, So I don't know, maybe got 10 whoopings in my whole life, but I would say most of them I didn't deserve. I had two other siblings that were bad as hell, Walter and Amanda, and I'm the middle child, right? So I just kind of got caught, roped up with them in some nonsense a lot of times. But yeah, I would say most of the time I didn't deserve a whooping. And I would say this, all joking aside, some of the whoopings that I got, it messed me up because I was like, I didn't deserve that. You know what I mean? And, I know my parents, I had two fathers, my biological and the stepfather, and my mom, I know they were doing what they thought to be best, but yeah, there was a time I got a whooping I did not deserve. I mean, it was bad, so I mean, and just to be kind of, transparent with you, it was so bad that at 10 years old, I thought about, doing the unthinkable, but, something spoke to me, was like, nah, it ain't your time yet. So that's why I say, we need to be careful in how we discipline children. And that's what I'm gonna say about that. And Brother Samuel, you say, evil has been made fair seeming. I think I remember someone saying Satan will be entertaining. Had in our living room, or what is our living room? A television. And I have a whole bunch of numbers, Matt, because you are a mathematician. Brother Samuel is a math teacher. God bless you. Anybody that could teach math, let alone do it. I love and respect you. I am not one that can do math. Now, I know Brother Samuel tell me all the time, you are a mathematician because, I do some mental math and all of that, but all I could do, maybe some division. I can do division, but after that, when y'all get to putting the apples and the oranges and the A's and the B's and all that together, it's like, yeah, y'all tell me how that ends up. Let's see here. Let's get down to Brother Jonelle says, there was a nurse just doing her job recently attacked. She defended herself, picked up a chair. The price of chairs are up at Walmart and other places. I saw that. A woman came around the counter on her, and she was like, all right, hold on a second. Let me get a good grip on this chair. And yeah, that lady won't be walking around nobody else's counter. So absolutely. Suburbia Jones, you said, I deserved all mine. Yeah, Powerful Empress said, I didn't either. Let's see. And Easy says, Donovan, you come across as a back talker as a child.
No, I answered him on that. No, I was one of those. My mother used to fear for me because I was one of those people that, military kid, whatever the deal is. And my mom said 10 o'clock, you be at 10 o'clock. So if I knew I was going to be late, hell with it, man. I'm gonna get an ass whipping anyway. So I'll just take the ass whipping on the back and enjoy the fun. There's no point in rushing at this point. I might as well stay out as long as I need to stay out, because when I get home, I'm gonna get an ass whipping no matter what's gonna happen. So my mother always feared because I was not afraid to take the ass whipping versus and that's the consequence of what I did, and that's why I raised my son. Consequences. Everything has a consequence. So if you're going to do it, no problem. But do not run away from the consequences of what you did. And I think you see that in our community a lot. Nobody wants to take the consequences of their actions. I have no problem with you going, doing this, doing that, but don't be complaining when they're locking your ass up or you got to pay, for what you did, So my mother always feared for that. So I never backtalk. I was one of those like, all right, well, you told me to be in at 11, but the party don't end till 2. Shit, I'm staying out till 2. I'll get the ass whipping and take the restriction. Remember that? The restriction that keep you in your house? Like, well, my parents, a restriction was really punishment, because in my mom's house, you had a bed and a desk. There was no Atari, none of that. There's nothing in your room other than those two things. Anything else you're going to do in the front room. So when we got punished, it was a punishment.
Yeah, I know. I wasn't that child. My sister was that child. She was like, I'm hopping out this window. I'll be back. Are you coming with me? I said, hell to the no. And in fact, I'm going to act like I didn't even know you was gone, because they're going to be wondering why I didn't go tell on you. I'm just going to go to sleep and, leave it at that. Like I was scary. I was scary when it came, because I was that child. And my mom, God rest her soul, she'll tell you, out of all my children, you were the best behavior. I didn't have any problems out of you at all. And my dad will say the same thing. You're a good child. He tells me all the time, you out of all my children, you are most like me, which is why he gives me all of his reading materials and stuff like that. But anyway, yeah, I wasn't, I wasn't taking no butt whoopings. I didn't like whoopings at all. Don't be, whooping on my pretty brown skin.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Shamita McConnell Jordan is in the chat, and we went to school overseas, and she remembers those dances where everything got a little late and stuff. And I would be out there having a good old time with the boys.
And let me address this nice young man here. He says, "I'm serious as heck, jazz. Heck, look at you. I'm serious as heck. Jazz is a dead art form for a reason. It was bad then, just hippies and beatniks." And for a 30-year-old woman in today's time is not culture. Jazz is for old people. Boy, I'll tell you. You know what? But wait, hold up. Wait a minute. This is the same man that talks about how Black women aren't feminine and all that. There's nothing more feminine and sophisticated than a woman being a connoisseur of jazz, right? That, to me, that is so sexy. To see a Black woman, especially, listening to jazz and just, vibing with it and all of that kind of stuff. But see, y'all want the hot chicks. Y'all want the Sukahanas and the sexy reds. Yeah. Y'all want women to be doing that kind of stuff. But a woman talk about, I like jazz. That's for old people. Lord have mercy.
One of the greatest love movies, Black love movies of all time, Love Jones, was
Mo Better Blues.
Well, yeah, that was good too. But Love Jones was like full of jazz riffs in there and modern stuff. So I mean, acid jazz, the brand new heavies, Incognito. I mean, how do you, man? Come on now, come on.
Black America, I want you to get some culture about yourself. You probably don't even like going to the theater or museums or any of that kind of stuff, right? Like my daughter likes to do those type of things. She's very well cultured, but I will say, unfortunately, a lot of men her age, Marjorie, you said I was the oldest and I was supposed to help my parents with my younger siblings if they broke something and I was supposed to be watching them. Yep. Pow. Yeah. I was considered an older sibling as well, and I had the responsibility of watching my younger brother, who is 43, but he was a lot younger than me, and we had the responsibility to watch him, take care of him, and it was a lot of responsibility for a young child. And I think that's kind of why I am the way I am today, as far as children, mentoring children, and raising children that are not mine, and all that kind of stuff. I just love taking care of not just children but people, and I think that's where I got it from. Uh, and let's see here. Yeah, easy. Donovan was a true rebel. He still kind of is. Joanne says, "Well, I must say the stitches did deter a lot of whoopings, or the switches rather, did deter a lot of whoopings from being from Louisiana, and we learned we were not abused, but yeah, we got whooped. Yeah, I got switched a time or two. I did not like that at all." And Shamita says, "And yes, Donovan, you probably definitely deserved your ass whoopings. I grew up with you. I know. Yep." Black America says, "And that's why you're a good man today. Take a lick and keep on ticking, Lord have just hard headed." Marshawn says, "I'm also a middle child." Shaking my head. "My sister was the golden child. That's why there are differences between us now." Shaking my head. In fact, my feeling says, "I love Atari." Me too. That's probably the only last video game I know how to play was Atari 5200, I think.
Yeah, Atari 5200. Then you have your ColecoVision.
Yeah.
ColecoVision took over.
After I grew up, I was like, I'm not playing these games no more. When I got my daughter got, I forget, a PlayStation or something. They had the dance games and all of that. And my nephew, he has what are those the vision goggles where it looks like it's
oh
real.
My gosh, yeah. I remember we were out in front of the house and it looked like he was just
oh yeah, did you see when Amanda fell? Remember when Amanda fell? That's my sister. We had the goggles on, and it was you were supposed to be fighting. I don't know who it was in the goggles. You never put them on, huh? So you're supposed to be fighting, and it looks real, like you're really fighting somebody. So I put them on, and the fighter was huge, and I was like, hell to the no. I take these things up off of me. So I did, and my sister put them on, and she was trying to fight, and then she just fell flat out. I guess he must have knocked her out. Donovan talk about my baby, not my baby. Unless it says parents gotta parent their kids to keep them out of cages. Big boy from Outcast. Yeah, you got to. All right. Morning says, "I have no problem with discipline, Demetri. Donovan, my mother was a strict disciplinary. I might get beat with brass candlestick holders, iron cord, stabbed many times at the end of the day." Sister, did you say stabbed? My God. That's horrible. That's not discipline. That's attempted murder. That's awful. I'm sorry that happened to you. Harley says, "Have you all talked about the guy who whacked the man over his head about 5 times with a yellow chair?" We haven't talked about it, but I did see it. It's like they're going to start about making these chairs deadly weapons, right? Or illegal. But, hell, who knew? Who knew that a chair could come in handy, right? And Bryce, how you doing? He says, "Gambling is a complete waste of time and money. Save your money. The house always wins. You, of course, lose. Always lose, 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 lose." Can you say that again? Yeah, I'm not a gambler at all. If I go anywhere where there's a casino and it's usually with somebody, I'll put in maybe $20 or so. After that, I'm like, that was it. I'm good. Let me go entertain myself in another way. But I would not be dropping a copious amount of money into these, guzzlers. That's, the house always wins, right? The casinos aren't there because they lose. They're there because they win.
And notice that when they legalize casinos in the South and stuff, they put them where? Close to where? The Black neighborhoods, where it's accessible to the Black folks to bring their paychecks and do all that other stuff. If you take a statistics class, they will teach you about how casinos make their money. It is statistically proven 30 cents of every dollar is made by the house.
Yep. And Brother Sammy says, "Donovan, that's solitary confinement. Seriously, that is the secret to time out. No entertainment in the room." Yeah, that was the old school right there, where you just like, that's when time out was for real, right? You didn't have all the bells and whistles in there. You might have, like, we had a black and white little bitty TV that you had to manually turn, and God help you if you got some channels on there. But yeah, when you got to get in your room, it was like for real, like silence and
And there's nothing there. You might be able to read a book. It had to be a school book or something. That's about it. And you only came out when it was like dinner time, wash your ass, just the basic. But you had to stay in that damn room.
And you couldn't go outside. Nowadays, getting the kids to go outside is a punishment. Go outside. No. I know if
they might not come back if they go outside.
Right. What's outside? It's hot out there. I don't want to get dirty. And it's like, man, we got dirty when we went outside, right? Remember when the old people say you smell like outside? That's how we came back in the house.
Yeah, remember back in the day, and I hate to go down memory lane, but it was the late 80s, and all the girls were wearing their biker shorts, and you guys would walk around in your big, in your little packs. And you go to the mall, and you remember, fellas, we used to have that little notebook pad where we get the number and the pin. You always kept that with you to get those numbers, and you wrote it down.
Absolutely. And Bryce says, I believe Gavin Newsom will be our next president. I didn't even know he was running. Yes, pieces of a dream. We've already said goodbye. Where did that come from? I can't.
No, I don't know. Go ahead.
Oh, the School Days soundtrack.
Yeah, that's right. But I remember one of their songs produced by not Gene Griffith. Yeah, Gene Griffith. About that time, New Jack Swing kind of aspect to it.
Facts Not Feeling says, I want the Sukahana types for just 1 hour. Just 1 hour.
Those girls are just good for fun. That's why I love the Ratchets. They're just there for fun. They're not there for a lifetime.
2 hours is way too long to spend with these kinds of females, but I want the respectable woman for a lifetime. Enlightened, he says, I only got one whooping from my mother that I didn't deserve. My daddy was the one who did the whoopings, and I can tell you that was when we prayed. Oof. Yeah, I got a whooping from all my parents. Not my mom as much, but my dad's, yeah. And it's like, I don't want that. And let's see. Moni says, a few of them I can honestly say I deserve, and I had no problem with it. But the ones that I did not deserve, I never forgot. I didn't just go through a regular whooping. You're behind. I went through trauma. Yeah, it sounds like it. Again, I'm sorry that happened to you. Marshawn says, my sis was the mama's girl and I was the daddy's girl. And I believe I love my dad, but he can get on my nerves. Laugh out loud, but don't tell him I said that. We will keep it a secret. Black America says, that's what I'm saying. Men her age, not our age. I can stomach jazz. Never seen Love Jones. I should block you. And Spike Lee makes horrible movies. You finna get blocked.
He's got to have it. That was a classic study of women and their dalliance into the independent and how they see men in different aspects. She had these 4 dudes. If you I just say go see the movie. But what I got out of the movie was there were 4 different dudes that had 4 different personalities that she liked, and it was deep if you really saw it. So.
Brother Sammy says, that's how I grew up. The older children watch after the younger. Also, when someone did something wrong and no one told, everyone got a whooping. Yes. And I got included in 1 or 2 of those. And it wasn't just no pop. It was a, okay.
Amanda didn't want to fess up, huh? She didn't want to fess. See, that's a bad girl. That's why I got to have her. I got to have her.
My sister was a thug. She was like, I don't care. She was like you. I'll take the butt whooping. I don't care. I'm going to be right back at it tomorrow. That was my sister. She was. In fact, Not Feeling says, Donovan, remember when we had to blow in the Nintendo cartridge to get it to work? Damn, those were the days. Yes, Fly Guy. How you doing, by the way? That is child abuse. My goodness. You're speaking to Moni, I think. Absolutely. Yeah, I see y'all trying to talk to Black America. I think he trolling at this point. And Joanne says,
yeah, no. But you always got to remember, it's child abuse to today's standards. Back then, that was just basic discipline. I mean, it was just something that nobody, the government didn't get involved. They were like, that's your children. Do what you want to do with them.
Yes, indeed. All right, let me get down to the bottom. And Angela, yes, LS Najee. Angela, how you doing? It says, my mom was very strict. She gave me a set of luggage. for high school graduation. I couldn't come back home during the during college breaks either. So she was like, "Here you go, my sweet child. Take everything you need to, but don't come back." Yikes! Woo. Yeah, I'd imagine that was probably rough, but sounds like you did all right for yourself.
Yeah, my senior year, my parents kept leaving military pamphlets on my bed and stuff. Like, here's the Navy, here's the Coast Guard. Look into this. I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, when I turned 18, I had to pay rent $200, which was a lot in 1989. It was like, but I did, and I've been paying rent somewhere ever since. Facts Not Feeling says there was this one guy on the block, got all the girls' numbers. All the girls were going after him. Make that make sense. Well, what was he? Was he a baller? What was it? I'm just playing. What was his
story? Had a nice little hoopty car. Girl, we riding, girl.
I love me some foreplay. Bolly Run. I love that song. And of course, they did a song with my beloved.
Hail the barge after the dance, of course.
Come on, dance with me back. He was talking to me. Y'all know that, right? And every time I listen to that song, I have to insert my name in there somewhere because I know he was talking to me. Nora says, I didn't like him. I got caught. And Moni, you says, he says somebody needs to. Black America is trolling. You said that now that's who you want to marry. Who you want to marry? And LSU says, Donovan, back then the government said those are your children. Now Biden says your children are our children. Brother Samuel says it's child abuse to give a child cow milk and not mother's milk. Cow's milk equals mucus. Yeah. We should really educate ourselves about that. Yes, LS Miles Davis. All right, so this is what I'm going to do. I am going to post the link for you beautiful people to come up here and ask a question briefly, please, briefly. And I'm going to say this. I don't need no history lessons, unless it calls for it. And I'm not talking about your own history lesson, but just, y'all know what I mean. I'm going to put the link up here for y'all to join the conversation. Hold on a second, put this up here. I've been taking a deep breath all day, guys. That's how hard I've been working, and I'm not done yet. All right, so I put the link up there. Hello, Angela Riddick. How are you doing? Oh, you said my thug. Yeah, my sister a thug. One day I'm gonna get her to come on here, and y'all gonna be like, "Oh my God!" I have to give her the talk that I give my dear friend Corliss. Let's just be cool, because my sister, whoo, that girl, boy, I'm always. I told her, I said, I feel like your mama. Stop that! Don't say that. Don't do that. No. And she's 50. And let's see here.
50 and still fine. Oof, Lord.
Yes, she is. She is a heartbreaker. She ain't taking no prisoners at all. LS says Donovan gonna be real scary for them if they come from mine. Donovan, you want to talk about this bill in Tennessee, don't you?
I want to mention it because a lot of brothers out there might be taking care of their children and, they're too busy to really pay attention to this. And some of those guys that are being raked over the coals. But you want me to talk about it right now?
The floor is yours.
Okay. Well, for those of you guys that don't know, the state of Tennessee recently passed a bill. Well, it's through the House. It's a new proposed bill. It passed their assembly, and it's got to go to the governor and all stuff like that. And women are up in arms about it. It's a new proposed bill will protect Tennessee's parents from paternity fraud. And now what that means is this. Do you know that in Tennessee, it is illegal for somebody to sign a birth certificate unless they are biologically the parent? So a lot of people have been signing birth certificates that were not the parent, which is a form of paternity fraud. So what they did in Tennessee and what's going to basically happen, it's going to spread all over the place because they're having problems now with, of course, one out of every 3 paternities are the father is deemed not the father, and these guys cannot get off of child support, but DNA will get them off of death row. So a lot of women are pushing back on this, saying it's not right. We shouldn't be using our tax dollars for this. Oh, believe every woman. The same old stuff. But ladies, unfortunately, it's not right to keep a man and make him responsible for another man's responsibility. And a lot of women will agree with that if it was their brother, if it was their nephew or something like that was in a situation. So a lot of women say, oh, it's going to cost money. It's not going to make women, tell who the father is or what, because Tennessee, the state of Tennessee also did it for the simple fact that it's going to affect their bottom line in regards to the social welfare net, right? But this isn't why they did it, okay? You guys remember that good old Democrat, first Black president, Bill Clinton, signed the reformed Child Support Act and stuff like that, that made men accountable and all this other stuff, and incentivized states through the federal government to go after child support. So the problem is this. The child support system now, the only reason they're doing this, and this is my opinion from what I've researched and what I've found out, as long as it is getting the average person and the low man on the totem pole, there's no problem. The problem is why they're doing this is because now the rich guys are being held accountable. And in Tennessee, out into the outskirts where the people owned all the money and stuff, they're now being held accountable to the standards of the lower guy. And that's why they're saying, we got to change this. This isn't right. This woman's claiming that I'm the father and I'm not, and I got to pay the money and I didn't answer in 65 days and all this other stuff. That is why it's being changed. But the sad thing is the pushback by the women who don't want it changed at all, when it has been proven statistically factual that 1 out of every 3 fathers who claim to be the father are not the fathers. And that is a form of paternity fraud.
I mean, I personally don't have a problem with that law. I think people should know who the father is. I don't think it's right that somebody is charged with being the father and they are really not, right? So yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think it's a good thing.
And a lot of women don't understand this. Once that man is adjudicated to be the father, he's the legal father, he could never get off child support, even though he has DNA that said that he's not the father. So what this law kind of does, it gives the man a chance to redress the accusation. And then at that point, he can stop paying child support. And I think that's fair. Now, notice they didn't say anything about him getting his money back if he's been on that thing, whatever the deal is. Because again, why shouldn't the man get the money back? But that's not the issue. So there's a lot of men on child support that shouldn't be on child support. And it's just not right when you got the full-blooded father running around free.
Absolutely. Third Coast McQueen says, I like that Texans cup, Demetra. It's just a cup I had left over from, it's just a cup. Honestly. But how you doing anyway? And Sister Corliss, she says, amen, Donovan. Any woman should believe in it because it's the right thing to do, period. Yeah, I don't have a problem with it at all. Hello, Mr. Elton. How are you? He says, greetings. I just want to say it's definitely been warm. I have my air and fans on at the same time. Same here. Let's see. It is at the high. It was 106 here today, and it's 100 degrees right now. So it's pretty warm. And it doesn't seem like there's going to be an end in sight. It's just hot. And I'm like, Mother Nature, whatever we did, we're sorry. Can you please forgive us? He'll get a break. And Angela said that law needs to go nationwide. I totally agree with you. And Joanne says fathers should know if they are the fathers, whether you thought they were or not. They should know. I agree. And let's see here. And Marjorie says some women are upset, maybe because of incest. You think Tennessee? Yeah, I don't know why a woman would be upset, but I guess she would be. Let's see here. Facts Not Feelings says 33% of men who think they are the fathers are not. That is a horrific crime. Yeah, that's why they say in the nation, settle down to a good choice, and make sure as much as you can that that woman is not sleeping around with other people or whatever the case is. But yeah, it's I've known of people that's happened too, and it's horrible because in a lot of those cases, the father grows to love the child because they're thinking the child is theirs, right? And then one day, and it's not always immediately, right? It could be years. The father finds out that the child is not theirs, and it's devastating, right? Like, I love this child as my own, and in a lot of cases, the father just like, well, I'm still gonna raise it as my child or whatever, even though I know it's not because I have an attachment to the child. It's emotional violence is what it is. To be a woman, to know that you've slept around with other men, and then you say you're the father. You just kind of taking a shot in the dark, hoping that it kind of pans out. It's a very sad thing. Um, let's see here. Uh, and Corley says, my brother is one, so that happened to your brother. And Will says, hello to both. How you doing? Says, those laws seem by design. And Enlightened says, that saying, mama's baby, daddy's maybe. Absolutely. And Easy says, Donovan, my brother, once they put you in a child support system, you are toast. Yeah, for a lot of people, it's hard to get out of.
Yeah, well, and it destroys the father's life. I mean, what if he had other children? Think about that. Okay, let's say this man has other children. You're taking resources from that man's family for a child that might not be his. But let's say, okay, he hit it, whatever, and he got involved. Okay, things happen, right? He goes and proves that the child is not his. The courts still have him as the father, and he's legally responsible. And that's where the problem is. We know people are going to do what they're going to do, but if a man can prove he is not the father, he should not continue to pay child support. And a lot of women fight back against that because, unfortunately, maybe the real guy that is the father is the Ray Ray, or he's the Pookie. It's going to be a lot more problems, or he's in jail or whatever. And we get it. But again, if DNA can get a man off the death row, it should be able to do the same thing about paternity. A man should not be paying for a child that is not his, unless he wants to.
Absolutely. So let's see here. I'm going to put the link up again if you guys want to come on and state your opinion. And Harley says it should be a law to have DNA done at birth before dad signed the birth certificate. I agree. Just get it all out the way up front, right?
And that's what they're trying to do. And they're hoping that this law will catch fire in all the different states, because think of all the money that is being thrown away in just legal fees and court papers and tying up the courts and stuff. It's stuff that could have been situated right there in the beginning. But then again, you got to look at the situation. The girl just gave birth to a baby. There might be family members in there. And I can understand the woman's side of it. But again, bring shame back to the community. You did what you did. We can't hide all this. Deal with it on the front end. So brothers, continue to advocate. Again, if you know this and put it out there, go to your legislator and say, hey, we need to follow what they're doing in Tennessee.
Absolutely. And Corliss, you say, well, how many know that these women are stepping out behind, in front of, and in between these women aren't always right? So paternity test it is. No, I totally agree with you. And
and Juwan, I'm sorry to cut you off. Juwan says that, Donovan, if the child was conceived within the marriage, the law sees it as his legal. Yes, in this bill in Tennessee, this is for unmarried men. If you're unmarried, if you're married, this bill doesn't apply to you because, again, in the legal terms of the law, you are assumed to be the father because you're married to this woman.
Oh, really? How you doing? He says, I agree that it is wrong to have someone else take care of a child that's not his unless he chooses to. Children need to know their bio father. Absolutely. And Brother Sam, you say D&D president candidate. Cornel West will be coming to the area with Mr. Malik Shabazz around a rally that includes police brutality, where Rankin County law enforcement have pleaded guilty. A gun, a wad was put in a black man's mouth and was shot through the jaw, not killed. Other sodomized by law enforcement. Mr. Sabraz led the rally where the officers pled guilty. However, I was trying to remember the points made during the discussion on Mr. West and his stance, and it cut off. but I know which case that you're talking about in Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, to be exact. There were 6 police officers that pled guilty after being caught and after they suppressed a bunch of evidence where they burst into the home of a black man without a warrant, and he was there with his friend, and they terrorized the both of them for 90 minutes, making them do some things to each other that they did not want to do. And one of the officers did put a gun into one of the homeowner's mouth, and it accidentally went off and injured him. And so they tried to hide the surveillance footage and plant drugs and just a whole bunch of stuff, but they ended up getting caught. So they should be held to the highest extent of the law. But I did not catch the rest of that in regards to Cornell West. And Brother Jonelli says, choice is the future. The greater the knowledge, the better the decision. We must sober up and do the math. Absolutely. And Easy says, why did he sign the birth certificate? A lot of men probably do it because they just think, well, I'm the father, right? And let's see. Let me skip down here. Off the rails, Russia Gators. How you doing? He says, imagine busy groceries, maybe the busiest in big city, checking out some mom's gear and fashion, hauling children around in style, and the obvious just now taking kids chats. Dad, I don't know what that means, but okay, how you doing? And Harley says, my cousin has 3 kids with a man she calls uncle, and none of them are her kid. None of her kids knows that who their dads are, and they all call him uncle as well. Yikes. Elton says mandatory blood tests should be required by law. When you're like that, also forget how important it is for medical history, right? And O'Reilly says Pookie and Ray Ray aren't the only ones impregnating women and leaving their responsibilities. Yeah, it's men who aren't deemed to be that, right? Facts Not Feeling says I know the size of my woman intimately, but women have always have ways of exercising they know they use to keep it tight so the man can't tell. That relationships these days are, Lord have mercy, really not worth it. Yikes. And Renzi, how you doing? He says, did you hear about the story where the baby had, yes, his head severed at birth? I purposely did not want to talk about that story anywhere else because it is traumatizing. But yes, I did hear about that. That's a hard one. Okay, so let me see here. I'm gonna get right to you, Black America, and Michael, give me 1 second. And Enlighten says, I think a man should be able to sue the woman who knowingly gets child support for a child that is not his. I totally agree with you. Off the rails, he says Cornell's great as a philosophy professor, activist, not sure of the opportunity of a left wing in 2024 should be deployed that way. However, as with RFK Jr. running is courageous, but of course. And then Brother Jonell says child support has always been a racket. DNA test should be done before any judgment of payments. Some women do be lying, and some women blow money on everything but the child. Both men and women should be held justly to account. I agree. Brother Samuel says, never let someone deal with amniotic fluid or fluid of the God. Note, amen. Dr. Africa taught us when you mess with the fluid, you are messing with the child's brain. Got you. All right. So, Black America, what's on your mind today?
Hello. Don't what's up with that little somber hello? That was a somber hello. Like like
You
I
know,
like I like I peed in your Wheaties. I didn't pee in your Wheaties. I'm gonna tell you like a lady told me, I didn't sleep with you this morning. You better say hi to me
I,
around here.
you know what? I want to apologize. I had, like I said, some real foolishness go on before I came on here, and so I'm not in the
What
best of spirits. But you know what? That has nothing to do with you guys. Okay, how you
what
doing, darling? How you doing?
mm, now you being condescending. Hello everybody.
Oh,
How everybody on the panel, Miss D, Donovan, get your butt whoopings, boy, and keep on ticking there, Miss D. I come to Texas for a small fee and take care of that problem for you. That's what I do.
you gonna pay?
Um,
You gonna pay me?
no, 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 no.
I ain't paying you.
Oh, okay. Well, then then you go ahead and keep that somber tone. Keep it up.
I'll be fine. I'm resilient. I always bounce back.
Yeah. Okay. Um, is that law only in one state so far? or is it just going through the process?
Yeah, it's going through the process of Tennessee, and it's most likely it's going to be passed in the state of Tennessee. Right now, it passed the assembly, so it's waiting for the governor to sign it, I guess.
And who brought that through? Was it Republicans? Probably Republicans down there, huh?
Well, actually, it was a black Democratic assemblyman that brought it. He was hearing horrific stories from his constituents, the rich constituent. It wasn't like the regular folks. He was getting it from the rich folks that he represented. And they were like, oh, this is BS, blah, blah. We got to change this law. Isn't it funny when you got money, how the laws can change in your favor?
Right. But Donovan, like I know where all of that comes from, don't you?
Oh, yeah. Privilege. Privilege.
Yeah. It comes from privilege, and it comes from all of these men who are now voicing their opinion, which hasn't happened in forever, because we're deemed toxic if we voice our opinion. And so it's just good to hear. And as far as the dude popping his daughter, I mean, you pop them now so you don't have to pop them later. That is, that's the old train up a child in the way they should go, and when they are old they will not depart from it. So it's a good thing, to have some kind of rings on your children, so that when they do get old, they don't turn into the Sukianas and the strip clubs. You know what I mean? So that's all I had to say.
Oh, well, that was harmless. Michael, how are you?
Doing okay. Dimitri and Don, how you guys doing?
We're doing well.
Yeah, I know Don. I know for Don, he probably has like a somber look after coming back home from Hawaii, which cut his trip short, and probably doesn't want to be in California that long, anyways.
I will be leaving. When are we leaving, Demetra? At the end of the month? What, 27th?
The 28th, I think.
27th, 28th. Yeah, something like that. So,
Yeah. So yeah, I just want to voice my opinion. Yeah, kind of made something a little anecdotal, like as kids, we're being like disciplined, punished for things that we made mistakes, right? Growing up, from the beginning to end. And I just noticed as a kid when I had a project I had to complete. It was actually outside of school. It's actually for Boy Scouts. Um, it was a project I had to complete to get Eagle Scout, and it was just a lot to do in one day. And it was also what happened at the same time that a game was going to be played at the same time. So I had to paint the baseball dugout field like in a timely manner, like get like delegate tasks, make sure everybody came. And after the project was done, and of course, I was delegating. I just got exhausted. I just didn't feel like completing the project. I mean, eventually I was going to complete it, but I knew someone who was close to me got very upset with me, and and told me that if I didn't complete this project immediately, I would fail to become an Eagle Scout. And this was when I was in high school, like 18 year. I was about to turn 18 years old, like pretty soon. And when I told someone close to me, he got upset with me and basically strangled my neck. And I remember to this day. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, trust me. I mean, I know what you mean. I mean, have somebody do something like that to you, it's horrible. That's not discipline. It's trauma, and it's abusive. And unfortunately, there's some people who don't know how to deal with children or anything like that. Now, I am one of those people who say we should learn how to parent with our minds and not our hands. But in a situation like the one with the father seeing his daughter
Mhm.
twerking, I think a pop was not excessive. I thought it was to get her attention and to correct the behavior. You don't want your child doing anything like that, but choking and stabbing children and all of that. Yeah, that's
Mhm.
heinous behavior.
Right. And studies show that when parents talk to the kids early on about things not to do that could lead to consequences, it shows that when parents explain from their perspective or the experiences they went through, their kids are more likely to listen, because I see a lot of times when parents tell their kids don't do it. I'm sure you know, kids will ask the parents why not, and the parents don't like to explain. I'm not sure because it's a guilt thing or it's because they don't know how to express it. I really do think that if parents, that's fine, parents want to discipline their kids, that's fine. But there's a better form. I think there needs to be a better way to communicate to kids, because kids are always gonna ask questions. Mom and dad, why can't do this? Why can't do A? Why can't do B? Why can't do C? And when the mom or the dad said, well, when the parents say, you can't because it's just not good, and the parents are just gonna, kids are gonna, or it's gonna keep going to become more inquisitive. And I think it's better for parents just to come out and say, look, I made this mistake growing up. I didn't listen to my parents, so that's why I'm disciplining this way, because I don't want you to repeat the same mistakes I've made growing up.
Absolutely. So anyway, again, Michael, I'm sorry that happened to you. But Black America and Michael, do y'all have anything else to say before I let you guys go and bring somebody else up?
Uh, I'll say, but how about Black America was first before about to make the last comment?
Hey, Kimmy.
So now let's jump on to this music, Demetra. That music is that's for older people, even older than yourself, like Coltrane and all of that stuff. I dig what you're saying, but it's not culture. I'm sorry. It's a part of history.
Did you know how old Coltrane was when he was composing such awesome music, and even Miles Davis?
Well, you could say the same thing for Mozart, but you don't hear people rolling around bumping Beethoven. You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
yeah, but there's people who do, and there's nothing wrong with jazz. Jazz is the foundation of a lot of hip hop that we listen to today. A lot of the stuff, especially the stuff that we were listening to, they sampled a lot of Donald Byrd and Miles and Coltrane and all the greats. So I really don't know what you're talking about,
I,
brother.
I mean, I dig it. They sampled some of the beats, but heck,
The
they
whole
sampled.
tune.
What'd you say?
They sampled the whole tune.
They right. They sampled some of the beats and things of that nature, but you can say the same thing for rock. You know what I mean? They said they did the same thing for rock music also. So it's not that I'm saying that it's bad, but for a young, vivacious 30-year-old woman, the only either she's looking for a 70-year-old, because I'm 50, and like I said, I date women your daughter's age.
I'm sorry,
She's
sir.
looking. Hey, you can say the same thing about Donovan. I bet you say that too, huh?
I do.
But you got to understand, we don't listen to it, and dang sure some of these people, especially in her age range, if she wants a man in her age range, they won't. It's not culture. Museums are great, yeah, but I definitely don't go to the theater. I wouldn't go see Medea or anything like that. So that's all I gotta say. Y'all have a good day. I'm gonna jump off. I'll be listening.
Thank you. Bye. Michael.
Yes, I just want to make, yes, I just copy and pasted the last link on the private chat. I didn't know that Benjamin Crump, who's the civil rights attorney, actually lobbied Congress to introduce an anti-black hate crime legislation. I think 7 years later, 2022, and I just signed the legislation. I mean, I signed a petition, so I put in the link in the private chat and the chat section. If you
Okay.
guys are interested in signing it.
We will check it out. But thank you so much for coming up once again, Michael.
Yes, thank you.
All righty. See you later.
Yeah.
Yes,
Hold on a second.
yes, but I do think that things are going to be turning up for men out there as things are getting better. But again, do not be mistaken. That bill was not made because they feel the unfairness of the child support system. That bill was made because rich men are out there wilding out and getting caught up in the system. Scottie Pippen, all this other stuff. All this stuff is being turned over because they've got the money to do it.
Yes. Black America. I don't know what Black America. How you doing, LS? Black America. I don't know what he is on, but I'm a 52-year-old woman, and I would love to be with a man that appreciates jazz. I mean, I listen to it all, but jazz just sets the tone for to the next level. And so my daughter,
In a sentimental mood, sitting there with your wine.
Come on,
and the candles. Come on.
LS, what's on your mind?
Man, Donovan beating around the bush. Just say the law is for Hunter Biden. Just say it, man. It's fine. You can.
Pretty much. Wait. His daughter's 4 years old, and Biden just now acknowledged her.
Who, his seventh missing grandchild?
Yeah. But isn't that a cold piece? How white folks get down? Man.
Hey, look. Hey, you see how they treated us? They don't care. Come on, man. No, I'm kidding. But what's up, Demetra? I hope you're having a better day now that you're involved with your third co-host, the chat and all that. Because whatever happened earlier, let's leave that there. How about that? Let's compartmentalize.
I'm gonna try. Thank you so much for the encouragement.
Yeah. You know, I'm all about that. You know, but yeah, man. I missed the video. But you know, a little tap is in order.
We didn't play the video because it was, of a 3-4 year old kind of trying to twerk, so I didn't want to show that. I try not to read.
Oh yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. Hey, thank you for sparing me, because I didn't want to see that either. I was just talking about the tap part, but I think I put it in chat, but Big Boy said it best. Parents got to parent their kids to keep them out of cages. I don't care what Biden and the rest of them say about these our children. No, they my children first and last, for that matter, because we the one responsible for them. I mean, look at what your girl Kamala did when she was locking up parents for truancy. So evidently, if you're gonna make the parents responsible in that sense, the parents are responsible, period, right? And not that children can't do things that they have to, own up and accept the consequences for. Because I mean, that's just what life is. The sooner you learn that lesson, the better off you'll be, But
I mean, I don't know. And how you doing, Will? He says, I understand what you say. The law is for now. You say, LS, you think that is for Hunter Biden. Does Hunter live in Tennessee?
No, I'm just saying in the overall sense. Since Donovan brought out that, they didn't pass that law for us, just like affirmative action wasn't passed for us. We know who benefited the most out of that, and that was white women. And now there's another law that's going to benefit somebody else, but they like using us for the poster child. Speaking of which, Shame left the building when the LGBTQ stepped on the stage. For real. I mean, it's, people going to do what they want to do. I get all that. But, man, since that thing has taken off, Shame is like a dinosaur around this piece. Because, I mean, it's ridiculous.
Well, let me ask you this real quick, LS. Clarissa Shields, is that her name, the boxing girl?
Yep.
And let me say this. She's the best female boxer of all time. I'll give her all of that. I mean, she's dominated she's dominated her weight classes, whatever. I'll give her that. She's a phenomenal boxer against women. Why is it that, remember when Ronda Rousey was calling out Floyd Mayweather and stuff like that?
Yeah.
I mean, why is it that, when people get a certain status, it goes to their head? And now she's calling out, I guess, this other boxer in the thing.
Yeah, Keith Thurman.
Yeah. What do you think about that in regards to doing it? And I like the way he handled it, too, because it was like, nobody wants to see a man fight a woman. Nobody wants to see that. But he was talking about for charity and maybe I'll let you, do this or whatever, but, he's trying to do this thing. But what's your opinion about her, these females calling out men as if they could actually
take them?
Yeah, with men.
I can take them down. I mean, it's weird, man. I mean, that's the world we live in. That once again, no shame. A woman with some shame wouldn't even try that because she know better, But now you have the advent of feminism, and I'm not saying women shouldn't feel empowered in being a woman, I want you to. You definitely should. Let's start with getting these transgenders out y'all spaces, these pretenders. You know, that would be my first line of defense and always has been. I mean, but with Clarissa Shields, she's the best female fighter right now. I don't think she could take Ann Wolf. Y'all might not know who that is, but Ann Wolf would beat her up and down the street.
Yeah, but in her prime and stuff. But because the reason I'm worried about that is this: it's bad enough the transgender situation is coming into female sports, and here's a guy. If he was on the guy side, he's nothing. You know, he's like 100th out of the world, or maybe 100,000 out of the world. But he comes into the
Keith
women's
Thurman?
side. No. I'm just saying in general.
In general, okay.
With the transgender, so. You know, now they want to outright fight straight up men when the transgender, you're having a problem in the transgender area where you can't even dominate your own sport.
Yeah. And then you have other women like Megan Rapinoe leaving the sport and advocating for transgenders to come in. It's completely insane. I mean, I would think that, you know, I was glad to hear Jess Hilarious, you know, get on her soapbox and go off. And I want to see more women do that because, I mean, men, natural inclination is to protect the woman. And look, ladies, do not take this the wrong way. Women should be in the military. They shouldn't be on the front line. That's not the place for you. I mean, there was a woman that was captured when Bush was in office. They turned over every nook and cranny to get her out of the Middle East. Because when the enemy catches a woman, it's going to be worse than what they do to a man. I mean, we're supposed to protect women. I mean, when the ship is going down, it's women and children first. Well, with these transgenders, they're going to be kicking the women and children out the way to get in the boat and get in the boat.
I want to say this. Hi, Darius. How you doing? I was in the military and I got through just fine.
Yeah. I said join the military, but the front line battle.
I didn't say join. I said I was in the military.
wait. But Demetra, your job is exactly a job women should fulfill within the military.
Listen, let me get us some context, okay? I supported the troops. I kept morale high.
How'd you keep morale high? I'm kidding.
I brought my homegirls with me. We all got in my Mustang and we drove a lot
private
of
dancers like Tina Turner.
Yes.
Y'all were twerking.
Private dancer. A dancer for money. But they were broke, so there was no money involved. You know what I mean? But
so y'all was twerking for free?
No, we didn't work. We were young ladies. We went to support the troops. Are you okay?
That's right.
Man? We want to make sure that you're feeling okay. Do you have everything you need? Do you need a hug? That type of stuff.
I need more than a hug. Yeah, come on over here. Let me hug. No.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What kind of benefits do you have?
Hey, I'm in the military. I've been here like 10, 15 years now.
I'm saying when it get to that question of, you know, what you gonna do for me? What kind of benefits do you have, young man?
What's your rank? What's your rank?
You see these bars on me?
Can I get a 24-hour nonstop pass? I could just blow right through the guards when I'm coming up. Oh, I'm with Captain so-and-so. Admiral, you know, he knows me.
That's right. Meet me at the NCO. It's going down.
No, for real. My daughter's father was in the military. Okay, that was my. Okay, I had another boyfriend. I was in the military too, but.
Oh man, no, but for real, y'all know that they're trying to reinstitute the draft, and it started under Obama, but now it seems
women
like it's gaining.
See, they talk about equality, and women don't want to do it. They don't want to be subject to being drafted. They're saying, well, men should do that. Nobody's disputing that. But when you see, that's what I'm saying. When they talk about equality, either talk about it and be about it, or keep your mouth closed. Either it's going to be equal or it's not.
Okay, but let me ask y'all fellas this, okay? what woman, and I'm sure there's maybe a few, but what woman in her right mind joins the military and says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't be breaking my nails"? How many women actually go in there and do that?
There's a lot, believe it or not. There's a lot. That's why they had to change the hair regs, I mean,
put them on desk duty.
Hold on. I saw a video of a man that was in the army twerking. He's talking about, I'm out here supporting the troops, and all this, and he is in the military. So I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Who are you talking about?
Isn't our parents' military when we were in? It has totally drastically changed in regards to the civil experiment. So whatever's like you know what I mean, whatever's going on in the civilian world, they're trying to incorporate that in the military, and it's really affecting morale in the military, really, really bad.
Demetri, are you talking about Dr. Rachel Levine?
No. I know that's the trans person, right?
Yeah.
It was a brother who was
man
hanging outside of a car, and he was twerking, talking about a man's thing and what he wanted to do with it and all of that. And he was in all his, what do you call that? The fatigues. I should know what those are called. The fatigues. He had his fatigues on. I was like,
wow. Where's Friendly Fire? Where's Friendly Fire when you need it? Nah, let me stop. But it's
Wait, he said, I got your friendly fire, pow pow. That's what.
Oh no, no sir, no ma'am, absolutely no ma'am. But yeah, they are really trying to, what Donovan was saying. It's the military has become a civil experiment. They have lowered the standards that SEALs have to meet in order for women to qualify. Now, when you get into a battlefield situation, and look, I've never been in the military. My military training stopped at the Boy Scouts. So I don't have any personal experience with this, but I think I have a certain level of common sense. And when you lower those standards and you're in a battlefield situation, how is that going to work out? It's not.
Listen, let me say this. I y'all talking above my afro at this moment. I can only speak to the military in certain aspects and all of that. But I know that when it's all said and done, each one of y'all, I know every black man out there know one good woman, especially a black woman you can call on in your time of need, and she'll be there whether you deserve it or not. So I would think it'd be an asset to have a woman on the front lines, right?
What?
I would think.
Look, I can attest to this. I can attest to this. In all the years that I was in combat and all that other stuff, bringing back the troops from overseas, I will tell you, I ran across a bunch of young ladies who came back with tens of thousands of dollars in cash that you have to declare through customs. And my question was, excuse me, Private, where did you get all that money? Let
me ask you this. Did she service an important need?
Absolutely.
Y'all tripping. Boy, y'all came at attention on that one. All right. No, but for real, that is, look, I'm not saying women in the military shouldn't know how to shoot, but front lineman is a different deal. I talked to some other people in the military, and this one guy told me that in the Middle East, he was stationed at that when women go out on a patrol, they have to be brought back every 3 days to take a shower. She'll give away your position just by her femaleness, if that's not a word, but y'all know what I mean.
Yeah, the scent and everything. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. Listen, just because I'm out on the front line don't mean I want to be stanky. Damn. I'm fighting for the country. I can't have a bath every day. I would go AWOL behind the shower. I'd be like, listen, I know they dropping bombs and all of that, but what I'm going to need y'all to do is show me to the nearest shower, preferably some hot water, some good zhuzhy soap, and all of that, right? And I need some shea butter too.
Demetri, this is a war. If we're in a war, you don't have time.
Usually what they do, they give them a Ziploc bag and some wipies, and that's how they go out and hopefully handle
some wipies.
Yeah, they give.
You
Okay,
know what
okay.
I'm saying?
So when Auntie shows up at that time of the month, come on, Demetria, come on now.
Listen, I'm a lady of a certain age, so I don't have that issue anymore. But if I was in the military and I had that issue, I'm like, listen, for the next 5 days, y'all ain't gonna see me. I need to be laid up somewhere. I'm gonna wish y'all luck. Listen, good luck. May the gods and all the heaven above be with y'all. But in this time, I am going to go and take care of me. I'm just saying.
And that's fine, but okay, when they giving out orders, and Donovan, I'm sure you can, verify this. When they giving out orders, they don't. It's not optional, right? It's not like, well, you know what, I'm busy. That ain't how that work.
Yeah. Okay. Now in the Air Force, it's optional. Like you can question it, but in the Army and the Marine Corps, no, they're not having that. You're going to do it as you're told.
Then you give me a dishonorable, because it's dishonorable for me to be up here funky. Either way, it's dishonorable. So let me be dishonorably discharged with some good soap and water. Okay?
See now, Demetria, look, I've been fighting hard for you to get your benefits that you deserve for supporting the troops. I was right there at 15th Wing in Hickam, in Hawaii, saying, look, we gotta, give something to these ladies that were supporting the morale of the troops.
Right.
The ladies of the night that were supporting the man.
I almost said a bad word on here.
No, Demetria, no.
We was not no ladies of the night because they didn't let you spend the night at the barracks.
Wow.
For real. Nah, listen, we were nice young ladies going. Listen,
yeah, I wasn't talking about y'all. I was talking about them other ladies of the night.
There was some ladies of the night, I didn't hang out with them. Okay, I hung out with my friends, and we had a good time. We did, and we went home.
Remember the all-nighters at the base? That was the best time because the holiday was the next day, so you had the all-nighters on Sunday.
I remember. Yep, Sundays, man. Because listen, y'all, I'm telling you, I don't know for the life of me why these young girls don't think. I don't know. Maybe the military bases are dangerous now. I don't know. But when I was young, like 18, 19, and we learned about the bases, let me tell you how we learned about the bases, because we went to this club called Club Metro. Donovan, he's a veteran of Club Metro. That's where I met my baby daddy anyway. But he was in the Marines. And so we learned at the military bases because all the military guys would come down and they were so dressed sharp and they smelled good and all that other stuff. And so we was like, word, are you in the Marines? Oh, you live somewhere else, but you stationed here? Then they would invite us, and I bring, like I said, all my friends. And we go on the base, and my boyfriend had a friend, and they had a friend, and they had a friend, and they all hook up, but we would boot up or whatever. And that's how we knew about the bases. I've been to quite a few bases. Camp Pendleton, I've been to Norton, I've been to March Air Force Base, I've been to Camp Irwin, where else? That's it, 29 Palms.
29 Palms.
Is that what about first, second, or third base? No, let me stop. Don't answer that, Demetria. Do not.
I didn't do those things. I want him court-martialed for touching me.
Hey, wait, but there was one time Demetria was at the all-nighter, and her girlfriends and stuff, and a fight broke out because who was that guy? He had, you thought it was your girlfriend or whatever, and he had another girl that he was messing with, and all hell broke loose.
Uh-oh.
They had to escort Demetria off the base.
What?
No, Donovan making up, okay? Because they would have court-martialed me if that had happened to me. But yeah, there's some wild times with military men. They had a few women that they was entertaining, because they just did, right? My daughter's father, he was one. He was a cad. He's a teddy bear now, but back then, oh my God, he was a cactus, giving everybody the news. But yeah, Donovan knows they had a whole bunch of women. They was, I'm gonna go off the war and I might die, and I want your lips to be the last one that I kiss, and I will forever hold you near and dear in my heart. And then they get on the bus going some damn where to be with another woman.
Well, you got to soil your raw oat. But let me say this last thing.
or you never leave the base at all. We just told you we left.
Oh damn. That's called the what is it? Bamboozled and hoodwinked.
Yeah, and then we see y'all join, those bases too. And then we see y'all in the club the next weekend.
I'm back.
Right, somebody else, and you're like, tap, tap, excuse me. Because, back then, there wasn't no cell phones. It was hardly any pagers, but, people didn't have to answer. There wasn't no cell phones. And so if you didn't get in contact with your guy, what can you do? And then, listen, I'm from the day where we used to write letters. Dear sweetheart, I hope this finds you well. I haven't heard from you in 2 weeks. And then it takes forever for the damn letter to get there. And then you got to wait and hope that they, write you back. It wasn't no emails or nothing like that. They had to, and then it just, I can imagine now. But, we had a lot of patience back then. It's like, oh, he'll get it eventually. Then like 3 weeks or so go by, you get that letter in the mail, and then you might have sprayed some perfume. Yeah, see, I don't know nothing about that. Perfume on the letter, or him spraying some cologne on the letter, and you're smelling the letter, you're holding on to it, and you reread, and they want to make sure you read everything
days,
right.
The good old days,
man.
Yeah.
My last relationship, we were long distance. I wrote him a letter, and he was like, "Wow." I was like, "Yeah, we ain't got to, we talking and texting." I wrote a letter because I thought that was very, nice. I should have put some arsenic on it though.
Oh,
but anyway.
Dimitri got the anthrax lab in the basement.
Yeah, that's what it is. I should put the anthrax on it. He goes,
oh man, that is tough. That is tough. But you know what? This last thing I want to say about the military, and then Donovan, I want to ask you about Maui. But a few years back, and this was when Obama was still in office, there were some women that were, going through the training for Navy SEALs, and
platoon leaders,
I mean,
and the Rangers and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of them began to lactate, spontaneous lactation, because they weren't with child. I personally believe that was the Lord revealing to them, whether you think you're a woman or not. That don't matter. What you think don't matter. This is what it is, and he showed evidence.
Yeah, and the sad thing about that, all those women that went through that training, the ones that did make it, I think there's like less than 3 of them that are still in those units, because like the women can't make the requirements.
Well, they're for men. The requirements are for men. But Donovan, I did want to ask you about Maui. Did you get out of there, or did you witness anything? Because it's been a lot of.
Well, here's the thing. I'm kind of glad you asked me that. Now, I took off on a plane out of Oahu, and we flew over to Maui for a couple hours. And when I was flying over Maui, I noticed that there was a fire. It was the initial fire, and we thought it was like something to do with agriculture. And you know how they clear out the thing? So it was no big deal.
Yeah.
So we go back to Oahu, we land, whatever. We get back, all of a sudden this fire has spread. Now, if you guys have watched on TV and looked at what they devastated, the area that's been devastated, use your basic logic and common sense. They have fire trucks on Maui. Maui's pretty, updated type stuff. How did that whole area there just get decimated there without any response? Now, here's the thing. Remember what happened in New Orleans? What did they do in New Orleans? They ran all the Negroes out of there and they rebuilt it. What they want to do, if you look at the area that got devastated, that is the prime area of Maui. As they're going to rebuild it, and unfortunately, you got 56 people got killed or whatever, how many people it is.
100 at this point.
Yeah, 100 and some, but that's still small potatoes to the billions of dollars they're going to make rebuilding that area into another white Waikiki resort type area. That's what I think actually happened there.
Yeah, I think I saw. Was it Field Show? It may have been, may not have been, but Jeff Bezos and Oprah may be trying to buy that area.
No. They had houses over there. A couple very wealthy people had big time real estate over there that got lost in the fire as well. But I have heard speculation, of course, people who are Hawaiians, I guess if you want to call them that, people who live there, they are saying they do fear that since Maui is pretty much destroyed, that the wealthy will try to come in there and gentrify the area, build it up where it's unaffordable for the locals to live there, and the locals are fear that they will not be able to rebuild and stay there. Of course, you guys know, and Donovan was just there, Hawaii is very expensive and prime real estate. So I think that would suck if that happened. You know, people see that as an opportunity. I saw a video or something of a white woman. I guess somebody gave her a Rolex, and it got lost in the fire. And her and her boyfriend or fiance or somebody were over there looking for it, and they found it, and they took this big giant photo op. And she was supposed to be over there helping, you know, look for people who are, you know, missing. And people were like, what a horrible human. You over there worried about your Rolex, and all those people died or and unaccounted for. And you took to the internet about behind a watch that is replaceable. But yeah, those are the type of people that will go over there and try to take advantage of the misfortune of the people, you know, who lost so much.
Yeah, with those fires though, they look very similar to some of the fires that happened in California. And if you notice, it's like the homes and the cars are hit, but then there's trees around that have no damage. And look, it's strange. I mean, I don't know another way to describe it. I thought fire just burned. It didn't have like a detector like COVID and managed to pick certain things out and just attack that.
Is if you study and you know, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has been speaking about it, it's prophesied, I guess, in the Bible, if that's what you read, that these things were going to happen. I don't know if you guys noticed too, in Alaska, mansions were sliding off of the cliff due to the flooding there. And so and then somewhere in the north, the Midwest or somewhere like that, they had what they say, they were expecting like 20 tornadoes or something. It was like a week or so ago. So, and here in Texas, and you know, all the way west, you're seeing these historical heat waves that are just unrelenting. So this is not just a coincidence or something that's just, you know, just happening. This has all been prophesied, but the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us so many years ago to separation or death, right? And so those of us who want to continue being all up around them folks, well, you're going to get caught up in the aftermath too. They got a debt that they owe Black people in America, and they refuse to pay it. And so, you know, God is not sleeping, neither is karma. And they're going to have to pay one way or the other, which is why I believe you hear a lot about different states and cities and stuff talking about reparations for Black people, because I think they know that, man, this is America's original sin, and we need to atone for that some way, somehow. So I think that's why we're hearing a lot about it. But I'm gonna tell you like this: you cannot out legislate the will of God. It is what it is. You can't, you know, you see it a lot, especially in the South. Ron DeSantis and all of them trying to change the laws or just that and the other. You can change the laws all you want to, homie. You still, and your people, your ancestors, and the people who are reaping the benefits, y'all still gonna have to answer for that. So that's why we're seeing what we're seeing today.
Yeah, well, he said when he come back, everything is gonna be destroyed by fire. No more floods, so nobody has to worry about drowning. But it's gonna be hot.
James
It's
Baldwin.
gonna be hot.
James Baldwin has a book called "The Fire." I think it's the fire this time, the fire next time, the fire this time, I think it's called. But basically saying, you know, God destroyed the earth with water last time. It's gonna be fire next time. So, you know, prepare and do all that you need to do. And we're seeing that. I mean, I opened my door today and I forgot to look, which is stupid of me. I got distracted though. I opened my door and I smelled a fire. I'm like, nah, ain't nobody burning their fireplace because it's like 106 degrees here. I'm like, is there a fire somewhere? Clearly it wasn't in my neighborhood. But it's really hot and things are catching off. We haven't had rain here in Houston in weeks, which is rare, but it has not been a drop in weeks.
But do you want to know what's really crazy about what I noticed over there? And like I said, to me, going to Hawaii is like going to Vegas. It's another state. It's, you know, it's nice and everything. But if you've done everything you need to do, it's kind of boring to go. It's like if you've been to Vegas several times, you know, you've been to the shows, you've done all that. It's all good and great. But here's what's really sad. Hawaii is a little bit more expensive than California, right? No problem with that, whatever. Hawaii is a services state. I was driving around just like around the bases and into the neighborhoods and stuff, and I noticed that all of the people that are serving and are working hard are very poor, but they're working. And they live in these poor neighborhoods that aren't being kept up and stuff. I mean, but these people are working constantly. And you look at the people that go to the resorts and kind of down there and they're the privileged and they're doing their thing. I get that part. But how is it that these people who are working almost 7 days a week and are barely squeaking out a living, and a lot of them are native to Hawaii, live the way that they're living, and yet they're working every day? That's my biggest question. It's like, wait a minute, these people are working and they don't have anything, So, we got to ask ourselves, and Dimitri and I always talk about this. Capitalism in its purest form is very, very brutal. And what I saw in Hawaii was the result of capitalism. I'm not a communist. That ain't what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, here are people who are working their asses off and are getting nowhere. Doesn't make sense to me, but yet we're capitalists. Oh, you can't believe capitalism. Capitalism is very brutal. Unless you've got the money like Jeff Bezos and stuff, capitalism does not benefit you.
It's never was supposed to. And that's, at the helm of all of this, the Communist Manifesto talked about that. At the helm of the racism and the politics and all the things in between is capitalism. And those things are meant to be a distraction to the rest of us who are not a part of the 1%, the bourgeoisie, the ones that own the means of production, us, the proletariat, the working class, if you will, the middle class. I don't even know if that exists anymore. But those things are meant to distract us. While, as you said, the people at the top keep raking money hand over fist, basically making it impossible for us in the working class to even get anywhere near them, right? And then as you're seeing now, a lot of these companies and things like that, they're closing down and laying people off. And we're hearing about layoffs every day. And I always tell people, if you work in a warehouse, you will be one of the first to see what's going on in this country as far as the labor market, because when you don't see as many orders going out and things like that, that's very telling as to what's going on in the rest of the labor market. And so you're right, capitalism does not benefit all, it benefits some. But there's also this saying that eventually there'll be nothing left to eat but the rich. And that's where the rise against the machine, right, is supposed to come into play. And we're starting to see that a little bit, where the working class is like, I can't even afford to put food on the table, gas in the car. I can't keep a roof over my head. And while we see, and no shade to him, but Jeff Bezos on his $500 million boat, and, the people that are like him, and we are starving here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to run up on your boat, Jeffy, and up in your house, Oprah, and, all these other people, because what we're not going to do is sit here and starve to death, right? And I'm not saying it's necessarily their fault, but that has been made by design. Of course, we hear the United States government talk about, we got to labor, the supply. We need these people to go back to work. Like, you want people to go back to Ross, and no shade to people who work there at all. Taco Bell, McDonald's, and those type of jobs. You ain't talking about no sustainable job where people can, do all those things. You're talking about a job where they need 2 and 3 of those jobs just to rub 2 nickels together. And so people are just either not going back to those jobs, or they're just figuring out a way. They're like, okay, like I said, here in Texas, it's $7.25 an hour as minimum wage. So that's, after taxes come out, about $45 a day. And it's like, for $45 a day, I'll go collect some cans. Or I stand on the corner, with a sign, okay, with a sign. And you know what I'm saying? Or like, I would figure out a way to make $45 a day other than having myself in a hot kitchen talking about, do you want salt on your fries? No shade to anybody, because I used to work at McDonald's when I was a kid. But that's where we're at, where people are just like, no, thank you, right? And so the government is pushing back hard against people who are trying to be entrepreneurs. That's why they tried to shut down OnlyFans, and they're going after the Cash App. They tried to anyway. And all these people on social media that's making money, they're trying to find a way to stop that, because they need people like that to get back to work so that the machine can keep moving. It's all pretty diabolical if you really think about it. So,
well, the heart of capitalism is greed, and that greed causes those that are greedy to go for more, and they don't care who they step on, to get it. And I think that's the biggest issue with capitalism. I mean, I think it has some positives. All the systems have some positives. It's just those negatives that, you know, have the effect that is detrimental to society as a whole. And, we need to get away from the isms for real, and just find a way to be able to work together. But only some of us gonna be able to do that.
The problem, you're right, and like you said, only some of us are going to be able to do that. But the problem is, a lot of us are so distracted, and we are so distracted to where we don't stop and say, "Hey, what's really going on here?" Now, racism is a thing, right? And we're not going to ever say it's not, but it's a thing to the point to where that's all we spend time talking about, really. Not saying we shouldn't, but you got racism, we got politics, and all the other stuff that's meant to keep us feeling like we are important, right? That meant to make us think, oh, well, we have a say so. This democracy is in danger. Well, we know that Black people in America have never benefited from democracy, but they tell us that we are in charge of making sure it doesn't go away. But we really should be focusing on what's going on at the top, because the people at the top, the capitalists, the bourgeoisie, the ones that own the means of production, they're also in control of what goes on with this country and politics and things like that. Anybody who's been paying attention, you know damn well you ain't got a choice in who really goes into the White House, but those very same people make you think that you do, right? Brother Sammy says,
Oh yeah.
Brother Sammy said, Donovan, I believe it's because when they transformed or refashioned slavery, and this is how it's disguised with a new language. Example, there are two extremes like hot and cold. So they create a new form, warm, but warm is another form of cold. Absolutely. I love that. So anyway, Brandon, how are you doing today? And Will, you say COVID-19 created entrepreneurs. You ain't lying, because it's like, well, there's no job to go to. And people were like, oh, I ain't never benefited from being home like this, right? Normally, when I clock out of one job, I got to go clock into another. So I don't know what it's like to be at home with my family all at the same time, sitting at the table, and we're enjoying each other's company and all that other stuff. So a lot of people was like, I refuse to go back to that. I'll do whatever I got to do to not go back and be under the thumb of the man. I'll create my own business. And a lot of people did. They said that many millionaires were created out of the pandemic, just like back during the Great Depression. They said the most millionaires, I believe, at that time were created because people were like, well, we don't have anything else to do. We have to figure it out, right? So you're absolutely right. And there's people like, I would never go back to punching the clock. So
Yeah, the billionaires made more billions during the lockdown, all of them, and that shows you where that greed comes in, because over what was it, 40% of small businesses closed that will never return because of that. And I mean, looking back now, I hope that a lot of people realize that we were being played, and don't look now, but it's on the way back. I don't know about where y'all are, but here they start talking about, there's been a rise in COVID cases, and I'm like, for real, y'all gonna try this again?
You're in Florida?
No, I'm in Atlanta.
Because I also heard in California that the numbers are starting to rise as well. So,
yeah, but that's all smoke and mirrors. I mean, look, the flu can be serious, but when they stop counting the flu, and then nowhere we just got this thing called COVID, and it's got tons of cases. I mean, they telling you, they're not saying it, but they telling you what they're doing.
Yeah, and whether it was manufactured or whatever the case is, the fact remains that a lot of people did succumb to that. So I don't know. I try not to get into that, because I do believe I do believe there's something nefarious going on with that. But of course, y'all know we really can't discuss it too much on here because they just don't like us to. But yeah, I do think there is something else at work.
That's an indication right there. The fact that we can't talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, if it's
But when,
this
but when we get
thing
our
that
own, yeah, when we get our own platforms, we can say whatever we want. And y'all know I'm on the African Diaspora News channel. We have a website that y'all can go over there and check our videos that are, I won't say raw and uncut, like nothing, salacious, but over there, we can say what we want to say. But on these platforms, we have to adhere to the rules of the man, right?
yeah, and that I understand that. It's just that to me that tips their hand because if it's all what they say it is, there's no reason to hide it. When you have nothing to hide, you hide nothing.
Right. Well,
And
they,
that
I would say this, whatever that's going on with the pandemic is not the first time in American history that, they've potentially pulled the fast one over on us. But that's why it's important for us to research, study history, get in these books, and
mhm.
learn about who we are dealing with. Y'all know I'm going to hold this up again. I do quite a bit of reading. I've read this book. This is actually one of my favorite books. Has nothing to do with what I'm saying. Y'all can't see it, but it's uh, The Community of Self by Dr. Naeem Akbar. It teaches you about yourself, right? Of course, you guys know I've read Message to the Black Man in America, and I got a whole bunch of books. In fact, I need to go get me another bookcase. But it's important for us to read so that when we hear about things like this happening, we can say, well, I learned about that, and yeah, this and that is going on, but I need to be diligent. And I will say this as well. There's a lot of people that succumb to the COVID-19 pandemic or whatever the case is, but also we've been told a copious amount of times to build up our immune system, right? To, as they said in the nation, to eat to live. And Dr. Sabi has given us the blueprint and a whole host of other things. And so exercise, drink water. So there's a lot of things we're supposed to be doing that we didn't do. And a lot of people who did fall victim to that had weakened immune systems. So I would just say this in closing, that if we know the government potentially is doing stuff like that, shouldn't we be doing what we need to do on our end in case they roll out another thing like that? We'll be more prepared to fight it. I would say yes. And Brother Jonelle said, read Somebody's Trying to Kill You by, I think, by Nathan Hare. Okay. We'll check that out. So anyway, y'all, we're going to get out of here. I love and appreciate every last one of y'all. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, and coming on here and voicing your lovely opinion, even Black America. Thank y'all for the donations and all that. Is much love and appreciated. So Donovan and I will be back here on Tuesday. Or I think we might do our podcast and the live show. Donovan was missing in action last week, and we just been hitting and missing, but we will definitely be here. Brother Samuel says, I just heard while in Atlanta this weekend that they are now putting the shot in food. See, I went back plant-based, and I am eating as much whole foods as I can. And I've lost like 10 pounds so far. And I've been back plant-based for about a month, and I doing a lot of exercising. So I'm trying to get my Foxy back and all of that.
Uh-oh.
Right. Watch out now.
Uh-oh.
Watch out, military bases. I'm just playing. I'm just playing.
First, second, third, home. Which base though?
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you guys for real before we go. There were actual young troops coming back with thousands of dollars. Now you could imagine how they got that money.
By being nice.
Yes, being supportive. The hell? Yes, indeed. So anyway, we will be back. We'll have lots of fun on Tuesday, I promise. So in the meantime, you guys stay cool and enjoy the rest of your evening. Peace.
Be blessed. Pray.
You too.